From IsReal News, this is the evening briefing for Saturday, February 7th. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to travel to Washington this week to meet U.S. President Donald Trump, his office announced today. The Prime Minister's office says Netanyahu believes any negotiations with Iran must include limits on ballistic missiles and an end to support for what it calls the Iranian axis. A White House official told Axios the meeting was moved up at Netanyahu's request. This comes as U.S. and Iranian officials begin a new diplomatic track following talks held Friday in Oman. Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, says a second round of talks with Washington will take place soon while insisting uranium enrichment is, in his words, an inalienable right. In comments released on his official Telegram channel from an interview with Al Jazeera, Araghchi said, Iran opposes transferring enriched uranium abroad and described the first round of talks in Oman as a good start. He said the nuclear issue will only be resolved through negotiations. The comments come as the United States and Iran remain divided on core requirements tied to any potential agreement. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner visited the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea, CNN reports. Witkoff confirmed the visit in a post on X, saying they met with sailors and air crews and with a pilot who downed an Iranian drone that approached the carrier last week. The carrier arrived in the region amid ongoing tensions between the United States and Iran, and followed indirect talks between U.S. and Iranian officials in Oman. Israeli security officials assess that Iran may be seeking to prolong negotiations while military deployments continue, according to reporting broadcast by Israeli television news. The report says U.S. forces have been positioned near Iran's borders and that additional air defense systems have been deployed at U.S. bases in the region, with Britain sending stealth aircraft. This comes as Israeli officials express concern about a potential agreement that addresses nuclear activity without dismantling Iran's missile program. In Tel Aviv, a group representing bereaved families, hostage families, and survivors of the October 7th attack held a rally calling for a state commission of inquiry. Organizers said more than 1,500 families are represented in the group. Speakers, including former hostages and relatives of those killed, called for an official investigation into the failures surrounding the attack and its aftermath. The demonstration takes place amid continuing national debate over accountability and the scope of any formal inquiry. Opposition leader Yair Lapid accused Prime Minister Netanyahu of ignoring intelligence warnings ahead of October 7th and of attempting to remove indications of responsibility from documents submitted to the state comptroller. In a separate interview with Channel 12, former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called Netanyahu a liar and accused him of constructing a false narrative about the events leading up to the attack. The accusations follow the Prime Minister's release of a 55-page document presenting his account to investigators examining the failures surrounding October 7th. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee told PBS News that the Gaza ceasefire is already showing results but said the disarmament of Hamas remains a key unresolved issue. Huckabee said the current phase is progressing methodically and emphasized screening procedures for medical evacuations through the Rafah crossing. He also said diplomacy with Iran should continue but warned that military action remains an option if negotiations fail. His remarks come as ceasefire arrangements and regional diplomacy continue in parallel. Former Prime Minister Ehud Barak stayed on multiple occasions in a New York apartment owned by Jeffrey Epstein, according to correspondence cited by Haaretz and published by the U.S. Justice Department last week. Haaretz reports that Barak and his wife stayed in the apartment between 2015 and 2019. Barak's office confirmed the stays and said he regrets his association with Epstein. The report notes that the documents do not indicate contact between the Baraks and minors alleged to have been housed in the building. That's the evening briefing from IsReal News for Saturday, February 7th.